few things while I have you here. I think many of my viewers might be wondering, can you give us any clues as how to determine if a planet is strong or weak in a divisional chart? I got a few ones to ask, like, for example, we know Shadbala doesn't happen in the Vargas. For example, let's say in the Navamsha chart, if the sun is in the 10th house of the Navamsha chart, there's no Digbala there, right? Is that correct?
Digbala is only in the lagna chart.
Only in the lagna, only in the Rashi chart, because that is the physical world.
Correct.
Now, I do want to ask, so if we're going to define the strength of a planet in a divisional chart, an obvious one is dignity. If a planet is exalted in the Navamsha chart, then that's going to show good results. Another one, obviously, is the trines. If a planet is in a trine, the first, the fifth, or the ninth house, then it's a good one. Now, do conjunctions aid? Because, of course, in the Rashi chart, again, the Rashi chart shows planets actually coming together in conjunction. So if we have in the Navamsha chart, if we have the Sun and Saturn are in the same sign in Pisces in the Navamsha chart, is that going to damage the Sun?
Well, again, this question can be answered in a short way and in a long way. So short, if you want a short answer, then I would say it can lower your confidence a bit. This is the short answer. But if you want a long answer for this, or rather a comprehensive answer, then it ultimately depends. Like, for example, they ask this question, which size of the shoe is better? Is it number 9 or number 10? Which is better?
That's interesting.
The answer is whichever fits you better, right?
Right.
That's best for you. So if a chart is indicating that a person will be in a very big field, politically, or maybe the person will be very famous, and then you have these combinations in D9 like Sun, Saturn together, then that can be difficult for that person, because then it becomes difficult for you to keep that position intact, right? But suppose you are in a place where, like, I know a millionaire who has made his millions through his own efforts, and now he has given most of it to charity, and he's just going to temples and cleaning the floor. It's a Saturnian job. He's doing service in the temple full time. So then in this case, this combination is very good, because that will remind you that, oh, you should be humble, you should be like a servant, you should be submissive, you should not be full of ego and arrogance and pride, and you should not be puffed up always. So then this combination will be good for you. And say similarly, like, there are some combinations like Saturn and Venus together. So is it good or bad? So if it is for a normal person who is married to one spouse, then this can be a good combination, because then what happens? This person can get so much frustrated with marriage, with opposite sex, or like sexuality and romance and all this, because of Saturn, that he loses the desire. He loses the desire only to enjoy. And then if you are like committed with one spouse, then it's a good thing. But suppose you are into modeling, you are into a career where there is a lot of rajas and passion and interactions with the opposite sex, then this can be a disaster.
So, because wonderful, because you want to go out and show off your body and enjoy the rajas, but you also karmically feel that you need a partner, a dedicated partner, in order to express your Navamsha and your heart.
So in this case, this may not be very good. So again, so the ultimate answer is, it depends on where the flow of the chart is. So it's like saying, for example, if you have a very good car, you have a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce, right? And
Yeah.
imagine you are in India, okay? And the only problem is you need to go to the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I come and I tell you, hey sir, this is your Mercedes, this is your Ferrari, please take it and drive it,
Yeah.
congratulations. And then you'll be like, this is a very big car, it's very luxurious, it's the best thing to have, but does it serve my purpose
Mm-hmm.
ultimately? Maybe not in this case.
Yeah.
Or you could say, I will drive till the end of Europe from India,
Yeah.
and then from there I will go in a ship or something like that. You could say that. But instead, if I would tell you, now will you take this big Mercedes or Ferrari, or you will take a flight which has only one ticket, in economy class,
Yeah.
where you
Uh-huh.
will be like squeezed in and you will have restriction, the food is not very good, the music is not very good, it's very hot inside, the place is not nice, but it will bring you to USA. Which one
Mm.
will you choose? Of
Mm.
course you will choose the flight, right? Because that's solving your purpose. So
Yes, the
what is the
purpose is
use
what
of,
counts.
yeah, so what is the purpose of the horoscope? Where is the horoscope flowing? So
Mm.
every combination, I mean, astrology is very simple. Every combination, every divisional chart, every horoscope, every sign, every combination, every conjunction, every yoga that you have, everything is doing one of the two.
Mm.
Either it is aiding you in your journey or it is pulling you back,
Obstructing you.
right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So therefore, no combination is good, no combination is bad in that context.
Yeah, in that
You have
context,
to
yes.
see, is this planet aiding me in where I actually want to end up going,
Mm.
or is this planet hindering me? So for example, there was one person in New Delhi, India. He is very hot headed.
Mm-hmm.
He always gets angry and he just beats up anybody he meets in the
Mm.
street. He's just like not a very good person to mess around with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he had once taken a consultation from me. And then once I saw in his horoscope that he had a very good dasha running. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was about to run after 1 year. So I told him that, sir, this next year that you will have will be one of the best years of your life. Okay. And then at the end of that year, he called me and he just blasted. He
Oh
said,
yeah.
your predictions are false. You
Oh,
are a
that
fake
sucks.
astrologer. You don't know anything. You're just wasting time and cheating others. And I'm like, what went wrong, sir? He said, this year has been the worst year of my life.
Interesting.
I said, well, what happened? What is that terrible calamity that happened with you because of which you feel that this year has been the worst?
Uh-huh.
He said, that's exactly the problem. Nothing terrible happened. But I'm so used to terrible things happening. I'm so used to punching others and messing around with others that when these things don't happen, I feel there is something missing in my life. So
Ah,
this year has been very dull and boring and very, it's like there's no charm in this year, right?
yeah,
There's
from
nobody messing around with you. So he,
yeah,
according to him, this was a very he
boring,
said, oh,
stale.
I
Yeah.
wish this year was not there in my life.
Yeah, wow. Even though for most people, all of the bad calamities weren't happening to him, they could have gone further. They could have built into their life. But instead, he didn't, he's not the type who would take advantage of that good karma.
Yeah, so he has very animalistic traits, and that
Uh-huh.
was the 1 year period which he was having. He was having a very civilized time period, like civilized human
Yes.
beings,
Yes.
good, loving, caring. But that is not something which he likes. He doesn't
Mm,
like to be very nice all the time, right?
right.
So,
I, I
so,
see
so
I see what you mean, that how, whether a reading is going to be good or bad, it
yeah.
depends on the nature of the heart and of the person that is living through the given karma.
Yes, and in case of so many people I have seen, like generally they say, a planet in the eighth house is very bad. They say, it can give you very bad things in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then what happened? There was one person. He had a consultation with me, and he told me that, sir, I was running a dasha of this planet, which is in the eighth house, and that was the most amazing year of my life. And I'm like, can you please describe me what happened? He said, what happened was, before that planet's dasha, I always used to party and enjoy and, do all nonsense all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Was into drugs, smoking, addictions, alcohol, and so many things actually.
Yeah.
He would also visit prostitutes. But that dasha, when the eighth house got activated, he got some disease. Okay, because eighth house is also the house of like illnesses which don't get cured, basically.
Yeah.
It's like chronic
Chronic.
illness or something.
Chronic. Yeah.
He said the doctor told him that if you continue to stay like this, sleep at 4 a.m. in the morning and get up at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, then you will die. You won't live much long. Okay. So then he said that I stopped doing all this, and then I started taking care of myself. I started eating good and then sleeping by 10, 11, and then my life improved. So according to him, that was the best year because he had the potential to make the bad into good. Although
Yes.
eighth house gave him problems, but then he came out of these problems, right? But if it was a normal person who had a daily job and then the eighth house gets activated, he or she might lose their job, right?
Yes. But
Then they may say, so losing a job for 95% of the people will be like a terrible calamity, right? But then there are those 5% people who may say, oh, I opened my own business because I didn't have a
Yes.
job, and that turned into $1 billion company, right?
So the shoe fit him better.
Yeah, exactly. So as I said, every combination, everything in the horoscope is either aiding you in the direction where you should go, or it is hindering you.
I
So
see.
we just have to see, is this placement, this may be good or bad for everybody else. But for you, how is that placement? That depends on your chart, right?
I see.
If it's good for you, then great time.
Then it's
bad,
there. Yeah.
Yeah, if it is bad for you, then you need to watch out. It's
So
as
I
simple
guess,
as that.
it seems to me that there are periods that most people would consider bad, like an eighth house pick period. If with a planet in the eighth house, most people would consider it bad. But if that's, let's say if that's Venus that's in that eighth house, and let's say Venus is the Atmakaraka, there is going to be great pain in that eighth house, in that dasha of Venus, but it will teach something about themselves. Correct. It will teach them something that they need to learn. And especially if that Venus is exalted in the Navamsha, the eighth house chaos could actually bring great results. It could bring marriage or some kind of, or perhaps letting go of a bad divorce.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So most people would say divorce is a bad thing, but for this person, it might be a good thing if they're bad, if they were in a bad marriage.
Yes. So ultimately it depends on what is the size of your leg and which shoe fits you.
Yes.
Therefore,
Wonderful.
I always tell people, whoever watches YouTube videos or whoever is learning astrology, do not jump into good or bad conclusions. The moment you keep asking, oh, I have Venus in third house, is it good or bad? Good for what? Good for example, a planet in sixth is very good for your career, but it's like a disaster. It's like a nightmare for your marriage, right? Because it's the 12th from the 7th.
Yes.
So then you come to an astrologer and you read, oh, Venus in sixth, not Venus. Suppose, Mercury in sixth. You see all these things are written, you'll be very skillful. People will be jealous of you because you are so talented and all this. And then this person is in India of the age of 25 and he's asking you, sir, when will I get married?
Right.
And then how do I tell him that for the entire 17 years of Mercury Mahadasha, you will not get married? How do I say this, right?
It can be, I guess that's just the nature of astrology.
Yeah. So the thing is, it is good or bad, but for what? Like a planet in the fourth house can give, low sperm count because it's 12 from the fifth.
Yeah.
So it makes it difficult for a man to conceive, make the lady conceive. Okay?
Oh, cool.
Or if it's a woman's chart, it's difficult for her to conceive because again of that, low egg count or something like that. But if you are planning to buy property, that's a very good thing. So now if a person is of the age of 30 and he's asking you, sir, I want children, what do you think? and his
Yeah.
Mercury is in gets active, you might have to tell him that take some treatments,
Mm-hmm.
or you might have to adopt in worst case, right? But
Yeah.
suppose
Try
the
to give
person
some
is of
remedy.
but the person is of the age of 45, he already has two kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then he says, sir, I want to buy a property now. What will this period give me? I'm like, good, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a bit easier to deal with
So now
that
the
at that.
same horoscope, the same placement, same horoscope became good for him. Why?
Yes.
Because he's at a different time. He's
Mm.
of 45 and he already has two kids, right?
So there's also the I believe it's called Naisargika Dasha.
It's like the time, place, circumstances. Desha,
Yes.
Kala,
Yes.
Patra it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 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 Very good.
Similarly, in India, like people, they get married by the age around 25, 26. So
Mm.
if somebody has Saturn in the seventh and Saturn Dasha is running, it's an Indian, then you have to tell them that, my dear sir or madam, your marriage will be delayed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if Saturn Antardasha is of 3 years or 4 years or 2 years or whatever, because for an Indian to not get married till the age of 30, 32, or 35 may be like a big thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you mean. Mm-hmm.
But if you go to the West and say, oh, you will have a delayed marriage, because you have Saturn in seventh, and at the age of 28 it is getting activated, and for 3 years you will be running, Jupiter Saturn Dasha.
Yeah.
And then this person will be like, so what's the big deal? I mean, I'm just 32, right? That's not a
so
age for
even
late marriage. So
even the culture will
yeah,
have a part of it. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so astrology is not dead, it's living.
Yes.
Where are you
Yes.
living? What is your
Very
and
good,
last thing I
Bhabajeet.
would like to say, and the last thing I would say is, it also depends on your family.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Like for example, you have a planet in the 10th house
Mm-hmm.
that is getting activated. For example, a normal person is there. Okay, normal middle class person. Then he or she might get a big job, right? Or may start their own company or something like that. But now imagine somebody like Donald Trump, for example. He has one son, right?
Yeah.
So if his son has a planet in the 10th house and that gets activated, my God, maybe he'll be playing in millions and billions, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, because it's Donald Trump's son.
Yeah,
So
because
he
he's
has-
starting from there, you see.
Yeah.
But where will a middle class person start from? He will start from the scratch, right?
Yes, a very
It will
different
mostly be
place.
self-made, and it can be self-made for the children of the billionaires also. I'm not like downgrading them, but what I'm trying to tell you is that planet in the 10th house will have a much bigger impact in the society compared to a person who is from a normal family. Or suppose somebody is born in the family of film stars, right?
Yes, I see.
So they already have all the contacts. They don't need a very good dasha. Some minor good period comes, then they will start off their career in acting, right?
All they need is a little bit. And also, I guess it just goes to show.
Somebody is in a village.
Yep.
Imagine somebody is in a village in USA and wants to make it to the Hollywood. How difficult it is.
Yes, it's very
What a
difficult.
great horoscope you need for that.
So I almost see, like, I'm thinking of when you were saying, let's think of the sun and Saturn conjunct in the Navamsha. A village person might experience this dasha, and it's not a big deal because they're very used to doing regular servant kind of work. They're cleaning their house all day. But let's say Donald Trump's son, if he had Sun in Saturn, the Saturn influence would be very frustrating because he's spoiled. He is used to having
spoiled, and if he's spoiled and if he also has very bad habits, and if his horoscope also indicates that he will always delight in all the wrong things, so therefore always look at the country, the culture, look at the time
and the family.
Time means like 100 years back, maybe if somebody is married at 25, it is a delayed marriage. But what about after 100 years? Maybe, they will not get married, or maybe getting married at 35 is like very normal after 100 years, for example, right?
Yes.
Or if you are in India, then 30 is like late, 32 is very late, 35 is like super late.
Right.
But in US, it's like normal, right? And in US, it's like getting married at 19 or 20, 21. It's like, how is this possible, right?
Yeah.
So, but there are cases. So that's an example. And also your
very
age,
cool.
which age you are in, right? So
because
as per age, your priorities change. right?
Yes. So these are all things that you take into consideration whenever you do a client. You don't just think about the chart. You actually think about the person. Okay, this person lives in the United States. This person was born to an Italian family so that they have this kind of karma. It's 2021. They are 20 years old. You are thinking all of this before you even read the Navamsha chart.
Yeah.
And
So, for example, if like recently I did a consultation for a newborn baby, right?
Mhm.
So this baby was born, and then the father asked me, when do you think he can, probably get married, so that he can think of his retirement age and all this.
Yeah.
Then I saw that because by the time he's around 25, that time, the age of marriage in India will go to at least, 28 or 30. So 28 will be like the age. So then I saw at the age of 28, he's running, Saturn Dasha. So he might get married at 32, 33. I said it will be a bit delayed, but it will be like not very delayed,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But if it in today's age, if you say a man in India, like traditional India or even the cities, like getting married at 33, then the astrologer really has to tell him that, sir, better you focus on your career till then,
Uh-huh.
or your spiritual life, or whatever your creative side, because the wedding will only take place after 33, 34, which is a bit late in India,
Mhm.
in today's India. Okay.
Yes.
So by that, you have to like change your outlook. You have to get an idea of
Ah,
how things will be, and
your
it's the same with
approach.
career. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
same with career also. Like now, many contract-based jobs are coming in IT. Not
Yes.
like it's a long time, full time, like short-term contract. So after
Yeah.
5 years, 10 years, this will become like a reality for everybody almost.
I see.
Nobody will
Mhm.
have full-time contracts.
Right. Very good to know
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah, so you have to do it. And these things like, cryptocurrency, NFT, then like so many other things are coming around,
Investments. Yeah.
metaverse and all this. So you got to know, like, for example, if somebody asks you, will I become a good, can I make a good career in, marine driving, for example?
Hmm.
So how do you go? Do you go to Parashara's text and see which planet gives you marine driving? Is it
Right.
possible?
Yeah,
It's not possible. Somebody asks, I
totally.
want to become a pilot. As Parashara says, Venus in third house will make you a pilot. It doesn't say, right?
No kidding. Yeah, totally.
So you have to see how the same placements in astrology is changing and giving rise to new opportunities
Hmm.
over the course of months and decades. So you have to keep
Yes.
a eye on the trends of this world, and also how the predictions will change for the same placement, for the same
Yes.
planet, right?
Wonderful. So that's great because that gives us an idea of astrology, not only as something that we have to look up into the stars in order
Yeah.
to understand, we also have to survey the earth through which the Jyotish, the stars, the light, is trying to express itself and to illuminate
Always,
always.
always, always.
Very
Yeah,
good,
we got to
Bhabajeet.
do it.
Now,
Yes.
we are about an hour into our session. How are you doing? Was this a good session for you?
Yes, fantastic. Very
I'm
good
so
to have such a nice
I
conversation.
thought so too, Bhabajeet. Now, the last question I wanted to ask you, I think you and I could talk forever. And I'd love to get you on here again, Bhabajeet, because you're very insightful. You're very easy to talk to, and your insights are very useful to us on my
Thank you.
channel. Now, the last thing I wanted to ask you, uh, I noticed that the numbers related to the Vargas are going to reflect on a numerology. Let's say, for example, the Navamsha relates to the number 9. It's called the D9 chart. Now, is it true that that means all of the symbols in the astrology chart that relates to the number 9, like let's say, for example, Sagittarius is the 9th sign, and let's say you have Saturn in Sagittarius. Let's say Jupiter is the lord of Sagittarius, and Jupiter, I believe, is one of the karakas of the 9th house.
Yes,
So
yes.
if Jupiter is, let's say, even in the Rashi chart, if Jupiter is in Capricorn and it's in the 7th house where it loses Digbala,
Correct.
Now, let's say Jupiter in the Navamsha is exalted. It's in the 5th house and it's doing very well. Is it true that since the illness of the numerology of 9, let's say in the Rashi chart, Jupiter is not doing well, and you have Saturn in Sagittarius, and you have Mars in the 9th house, maybe. That wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. But if Jupiter is ill placed, the Navamsha chart will have difficulty expressing. Or even let's say the 9th lord. If the 9th lord is ill dignity in the Rashi chart, then the Navamsha chart will have difficulty expressing, because the Navamsha is the 9th Varga. It's the Varga that relates to the 9. In the same way, let's think of the Dasamsha chart. If the 10th house has difficulty, if the 10th lord has difficulty in the Rashi chart, that means that the Dasamsha chart, even if the Dasamsha chart is very well placed, even if there's benefics in the 10th house of the Dasamsha chart, it will still have difficulty expressing, because the things related to 10 in the Rashi chart can't hold the very strong Dasamsha chart, because the 10 of the Dasamsha relates to the 10th lord of the Rashi chart. So does that make sense the way I've put it?
Yeah. So the thing is, for example, you will find, like, if you talk of spirituality, some people you will find, like, because I am connected to many spiritual traditions, so I always find people of two categories within spiritual communities. One category is who have been very inquisitive from the beginning of their life. And it's like they have searched for God. They have read the Bhagavad Gita, they have read Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Guru Granth Sahib, all the holy scriptures, Vedas, Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, and so many things. And yet they can't find a guru or a good tradition to connect to. So that is an example of a very strong Navamsha, but a difficult D9 or difficult 9th house of your D1. Okay?
Very good. Very good. That was an excellent
And
answer.
there are some people who are connected to like big gurus and very spiritual personalities. And when they come home, they are watching some TV serials or movies, and they're like, yeah, that's how life is. I'm just being myself. Oh, yeah, these gurus are nice people. But, after all, we have our life. We have our, we need to go to the disco. We need to enjoy. We need to see sports. We need to do this. We need to do that, right? So that is like a fantastic 9th house of your D1 chart, which is giving you all these opportunities. Good spiritual community, God brothers, God sisters, and a very good guru. But the inner inclination is not there in the Navamsha, right? So now among the two, which is better? Well, both are good and both are bad in their own way.
Yes.
But
the Navamsha chart's better. Having a good Navamsha chart is always the best, right?
Yeah, because if you have a good Navamsha and you are really searching for God, then one day God will definitely give you a guru, if not in this life, or maybe in the next life, or if not now, after 10 years, 5 years, whenever he feels it is right. Okay.
Yes.
But if you have a good spiritual community, but you are not following anything, you are just doing what you want, whatever your mind says, you are not obeying to their words. What is the use of that, right? So it's like it is as good as if it is not there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So the D1 is like they say a good D1 and a bad D9 is like, you get a very nice birthday gift. It's very well packed with all the red ribbons.
Yes.
And it's very attractive. And you open and it's empty.
Yeah. It's coal. Yes, that
but
makes sense to
imagine
me.
You have a bad D9 and a good D1. It's like, a friend who you love very much has, cooked something for you out of love and affection. The only thing is he forgot to put salt in it. But still you will feel, oh, he has cooked with so much love. I wish that God gives him all the happiness of the life, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that. The externals may not be good. It's like a homemade cake, which your spouse or your mother has made with a lot of love and affection for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be having the best of the best designs, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's made of love. So you will enjoy that more compared to you order a cake and they make a very polished cake, but it doesn't feel very good when you
Yeah.
eat, right?
It
Although the
doesn't.
taste is nice, but it's more of like a business. It's like a transaction. I give money and then they give me this, right?
No kidding. Yeah,
So
yeah, that makes sense to
yeah,
me.
so it's like that. So yeah, for every divisional chart, the corresponding house of the D1 has to be examined well,
Mm-hmm.
like the ninth house for Navamsha in the D1 and the 10th house. So yeah, so ultimately, as I say, it's like how good you can understand the flow of the chart along with the divisional charts and the Rashi chart, the D1, the Lagna chart. That will ultimately tell you what is good for you and what is not good for you. That's the
Wow.
ultimate.
That is amazing. Like it's quite complicated when you think about it, because most Western
Yeah,
astrologers have no idea about this. It's crazy when I think about it. But, it's almost like a spider. The Rashi chart is the body, and you've got all these legs, and the legs all come out. Now, I almost think, it's almost like the Navamsha is more like the body. Maybe the Navamsha is the true seat of the soul, and all those legs are working for the Navamsha in a lot
yeah.
of
Navamsha
ways.
is like your mind, what's going on inside your mind.
Mm,
So if the Lagna chart is good, you get good opportunities. But if the mind is not good, you will not make a good use of it, right?
I see. I
Like
see.
you are born in a family of billionaires,
Yeah.
then you have everything. But
Mm,
then if you are into, you have bad habits and you ruin it, then
mm-hmm.
then it's of no use, right?
Yeah.
So that's the perfect example. On the contrary, a person who doesn't have much but has that will and determination and that vision and that goal and that purpose in life,
Mm-hmm.
then he or she achieves good things and the person is happy ultimately. And the person uses those resources as needed, not just
Mm.
wastes them unnecessarily, right?
Yes, I see. Now, the last question I want to ask you, Babajit, if you've still got a little bit of time.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Okay,
sure.
cool. Because this has been a great session. The last thing I wanted to ask is something that always can confuse me is using the house lords of the Vargas, which it can get quite complicated. For example, I was thinking about the Lagnesha of Vargas. Let's say the Lagnesha of the Dasamsha chart. Okay, so we have the Dasamsha. This is the D10. So we know it's going to be related to career. Now, the first house in any chart, I believe, and just like how the Rashi chart, the D1, it relates with the physical world,
Yeah.
as we've talked about. Now, would we say that there is a connection of the physical body of the Varga in the first house of the Varga? So, for example, in the Dasamsha chart, if the person is Sagittarius rising in the Dasamsha chart, does this mean that Jupiter has something to do with the physical circumstances of that person's career?
Yeah, so in this case, the planets in the first house of the respective divisional charts
Mm-hmm.
can tell you what is the most important thing for you when it comes to your career, irrespective of any time, place, circumstance. Okay,
Mm,
irrespective of anything, irrespective of your age, your country, your nationality, your gender, or anything. Okay,
mm-hmm.
so for example, if somebody in the Dasamsa has Sagittarius rising or Jupiter in Lagna or Pisces rising,
Mm-hmm.
then whatever his Lagna chart indicates, is it creativity or is it politics or it
I
is,
see.
banking, it's IT, whatever the Lagna chart indicates,
Yep.
for him, having a good vision, a good purpose, and having good ideals will always be important for him. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because this person suppose he's into banking and somebody tries to bribe him, or try to seduces him to do something unethical, right? So then this
Yes.
person may not do that in the career, because for him or her the ideals is very important. Like loyalty is very important. Jupiter can show
Yes.
loyalty to a company, loyalty to a boss, loyalty to a firm, or to an organization, to a country. It's very important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also Jupiter, if it is Sagittarius, then it's like Sagittarius is a fire sign, so it shows light. So he should be well aware of what he's doing and why he's doing. Otherwise, he will.
Ah.
If it's Pisces, then the person should feel good while doing it. Feel good,
Oh, cool. Yep.
not just emotionally, but if it's
Spiritually.
like yeah, spiritually, or he should find a good reason to make a change in the world or something like. So it is much beyond matter and wealth and name, fame, and all this actually. So
Yes. Yes.
you got to take all these things into consideration, and then you need to predict, or you need to suggest to your client, okay, you have this placement. Suppose you have Sun in the 10th house of your D1 chart.
Yeah.
So you become a politician, right?
Yeah.
But then you have Jupiter in lagna in your D10 chart, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then you have to tell them that for you it's very important that you stick to your ideals, and you don't go off track. You don't do anything which is sinful. Okay, so
Yes.
don't
Yes.
do.
Yes. Or
Then you
yeah.
will get more punishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that always affects for every divisional chart. It's like your head. Your first house of your lagna chart is like the body. It's like your head.
Yeah.
So even it's the same for the divisional charts actually. Yeah.
Interesting. So I almost feel, because I'm a musician, and I think I'm going to do a series eventually, and I want to show, for example, let's say a person has Venus in their 10th house in the lagna chart. So they
Yeah.
might be a musician. And
Correct.
there are many musicians for many different reasons. We could even
Yeah.
say it's a Leo rising, and let's say Venus is in
Taurus.
like the 3rd house, or in Taurus would be a good one, in the 10th house.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
then Venus would be the 10th lord in the 10th house. So let's say that's a musician. Now,
Correct.
this musician, there's many musicians all doing different
Yes.
things. This would be a
Yes.
Leo rising who is full of gusto and full of glamour.
Yeah.
Now, let's say we have one person like this who has a Dasamsha of Taurus also. And so in the Dasamsha, how they apply their career is going to be related to Venusian things. It's already
It's going to be
Venusian.
like creative. So Venus in the first house of D10 can make you very sensitive to all this, like the external appearances. How am I looking when I'm presenting?
Mm-hmm.
Or the person can make songs related to Venus, like
Yes.
the attraction for the opposite gender or whatever. It's like within the songs, Venus will play a very important, although that's a domain of Venus itself.
Yes. Yes.
But if he had Jupiter in first house of D10, his
Yes.
songs would be more of motivational about higher things of life, or he could sing songs about God and all this, right? So it's the same Venus playing out in a Jupiterian way. Or if it is Saturn, then he could sing songs which shows, oh, you tried to kill me, I came out, or whatever, some lyrics like
Yeah,
this.
that's right. Yeah, totally. I gotcha. Good. So
Yeah.
another question I have is, in this circumstance, let's say it's a Leo rising with Venus in Taurus in the lagna, and we have that Jupiter in the 1st house of the Dasamsha. Would we say that when that person has a dasha of Jupiter, it will do great things for his career, and his career will change because he has Jupiter in the 1st house? In the 1st house, again, it relates to the body of the Varga. So
actually, we think like that, but generally that's not how it plays out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So the opportunities in career, your name, fame, position will always, for the next million years, will always come from your Lagna chart.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have a planet in the second, sixth, 10th, or 11th, these are houses of profession.
Yes.
So, an 11th house is the strongest, right? So, planets in these houses will give you very good career opportunities.
Yes. Yes.
These will depend on the dasha. So, for example, you are running Sun dasha. Sun is in 10, so you get good opportunities. But then after 6 years, your Moon Mahadasha starts. Now, if Moon is in the 8th house, then you will have downfall in your career. Okay. But the planets and the D10 will tell you what is your mind like, irrespective of you have a good or bad career.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Okay. So suppose, for example, you have a good sun and then a bad moon. So then the dasha changes, you have a downfall. So then if you have a good Jupiter in D10, for example, this does not mean that it will not let the downfall of moon dasha happen. Then what will happen is somebody may say that, okay, if you pay us this much money, you will we will not let this candle come out, or we will not expose you or something, or we will spare you. But then if that is against your ideals, you will say, okay, you do whatever you want, I'm not going to bribe you or do anything which is unethical, right? So then the downfall happens, irrespective of you give them bribe or something. But because your D10 has Jupiter in Lagna, you will value morals, ethics, and values above money.
So this would reflect in your career. Let's say you've got a career.
What happens externally that you see from the Lagna chart.
Yes.
There is a planet in the 6th or 10th or 11th. It will make you wealthy, or it will give you opportunities.
So can you predict using the Vargas through dashas?
Well, yes, of course. First, we check what's going on in the Lagna chart.
Yes.
Then we see, suppose Sun Dasha is running. So which house Sun is ruling, where Sun is sitting, what Sun is doing in the Navamsha. So if Sun is in the trines of Navamsha, that can show, talents related to dancing, or, like a lot attraction towards Lord Shiva, and all these things can be there. Okay. And then you see what's there in the D10. So by that you will know, will this person be able to maintain what he got in the Sun Dasha?
Cool.
Right? By D9 and D10. Or else it will be like, okay, yeah, those were good years, and then after that Moon Dasha came and nothing happened. It's like that.
Is it possible that a person can, let's say, because I know that the Navamsha and the Rashi are the bones, they're the deepest vessel. So let's say if the sun is in the 10th house in the Lagna, and let's say the sun is well placed in the Navamsha. So we know that the person's got a good Navamsha and for the sun, and a good placement in the Lagna. So they feel good in the Navamsha about their career, and they are getting a good opportunity in the government in the Lagna. Now let's say the sun is not good in the Dasamsha. So what would that mean? Would that mean that they're happy because it's good in the Navamsha, it's a good opportunity because it's good in the Lagna, but they're still not that good at what they're doing? Even though they're happy and it's a good opportunity, if the sun is ill in the Dasamsha, maybe it's still not that amazing what they do in their career.
If the sun is good in D1 and D9 and it's not good in the D10, then what will happen is, within the government, when it comes to their profession, they will not be able to rise very high, because they may have a bad relationship, because the sun in D10 can literally show your bosses. Okay. But the sun in the D1 can show the king, which is like the government. Government can give you anything, right? It can make you a clerk or a bureaucrat or anybody, like a big politician or the president or the prime minister, right? But in D10, the sun or the 10th lord can literally show who is your boss. So then you may not have a good relationship with your boss, right? So that will hinder your progress in your career. But because it is good in D10, in D1, and it is good in D9. So inherently you are happy and you will have freedom. But
Yeah.
it's just that when you are wanting to become more powerful, sun shows authority. When you try to become the king, then you see, some other person is promoted before, even though you have talent, even though you have a good knowledge from the D9, even though you
Yep.
have good thing.
Yeah.
But because the D10 shows you don't have a good sun, so you may have some problems with authority figures
Or
within
competition.
your company, within your organization. And if Saturn
Mhm.
aspects the sun, then it could show some limitations again,
Yes. Yes.
uh, some restriction,
Hmm.
right?
Even within the good
Yeah.
opportunity of the D1 and the D9, the Dasamsha
Yes.
shows further
Yes. So
things.
it's like zooming in your career. So if
Yes.
D9 shows a good sun, then it shows overall you have freedom, you have the right purpose. But when you go to your career, then maybe it's a bit difficult. But when you are with your children or with your spouse or with your parents, with your friends, or you are making a YouTube video, then you are full of energy and light, for example.
Yes. Yes. Wonderful. That makes perfect sense to me, Babajeet. Thank you so much for your
Yes.
clarity. Now, I think we've gone for quite a long while here, Babajeet. I think for today, I don't
Yes.
have I to be honest with you, I think I could talk with you forever, but let's call it a day for now because we went for a long time.
Sure. Thank you. It was very informative also to hear from you. And yes, you can upload this video and we can see what's the response. And the
Perfect.
audience can also comment on what other topics they would like to see from both of us. Then we can decide accordingly.
That's a great idea, Babajeet. So for anybody watching, if you have any ideas for an interview questions that you would like me and my friend Babajeet to go through, feel free to let us know in the comments. You can contact me personally, or you can contact Babajeet as well. Now, Mr. Babajeet, this has been a great session. I know that you are from Exotic Astrology. That is the name of your YouTube channel. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before you can feel free to let us know any other way to contact you or how to get onto your channel or a website or anything like that?
Yeah, I have my website. You can maybe give the link in the description. And I
Yep.
also do consultations through my website, exoticastrology.in. Yeah, so yeah,
Perfect.
if you want to contact me for any help regarding your chart, you can go to my website or you can watch my videos. I have around 1300 videos from last 4 years. You can watch them. And I also have an astrology basics playlist. If
Mm.
somebody wants to learn Vedic astrology from scratch, then you can go and learn from that also.
Thank you, Babajeet. That's going to be very useful to my audience because I'm sure there's many people in my audience who would get a lot out of your basic, bare bones description of Vedic
Sure.
astrology.
Sure,
So
sure. Thank you so much.
it's been a real pleasure, my friend. I thank you again for coming
Same
on my
here.
channel. So thanks
Sure.
everyone for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed.
Thank you.
Take care.